Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again. So, today we're going to talk about how all roads lead to Rome. I mean, at least most of them. And what we can all learn, particularly those in the U.S. Senate, from old Roman road builders. There was an interesting survey, that came out. And what they did was they took satellite images taken at night and overlaid maps of old Roman roads. Roads built thousands of years ago. And what they found, based on the light, which is a way of approximating economic activity, was that if you lived near Roman roads, you lived in a more economically prosperous area. Today, there is a link between Roman roads built way back then and economic prosperity today. That's it's unique. There's definitely calls for further study here. Now, there's not a causal relationship established yet. They haven't been able to determine the causal relationship because they don't know whether or not the Roman roads caused the prosperity to begin with, or the Roman roads linked areas that were already beginning to prosper and therefore just allowed it to continue to prosper. But either way, it doesn't matter which causal relationship it is, there is a link between Roman roads from way back then and economic activity today. So why does this matter? With all of the discussion that takes place in this country about infrastructure, it might be worth remembering. Infrastructure causes economic activity. It causes economic growth. When you hear people in the Senate complain about spending on infrastructure, it's important to remember this. When you look at states in the U.S., you'll find that. You will find that areas that don't have a lot of infrastructure, well, they don't make a lot of money. It's common sense, but this survey really kind of drives it home. And it was remarkably consistent. The only places that it varied were outside of Europe. And the simple answer to that is wheeled vehicles weren't used as much. They started using caravans and camels. So the roads didn't need to be maintained. So that link doesn't exist as much because the infrastructure wasn't maintained. It's pretty simple and reinforces the rest of the concept. When we talk about roads or railroads and those who maintain them, it's important to understand that it's not just the simple ability to move. It is the infrastructure that drives American economic activity. It's what creates prosperity. Infrastructure means money, and it doesn't matter what kind you're talking about, whether it be broadband or railroads. This topic is going to continue to come up because the United States will eventually start to fall further and further behind. And it'll continue to do so unless the U.S. ups its infrastructure and transitions away from the kind of infrastructure that damages the country and the world. We're at a crossroads, so to speak. And we need to make the decision, and we need to make the turn to start building infrastructure that is not only economically viable, but also sustainable, something that will have an impact thousands of years from now. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.